To understand the popularity of The Walking Dead, you gotta remember the landscape at the time. The year is 2010, and zombie movies and TV shows aren't as popular as they are right now. The craze back then was vampire versus dog, like in this show. And this show. And this show. Oh, and this show. Again, and again, and again.
You're dead.
All we had for zombie entertainment were horrible George Romero movies. The ones that nerds try to tell you that are good. There was also a weird trend of kinda zombie movies, like these ones.
Open the doors!
So when Walking Dead did premiere, and it didn't suck, it blew everybody's tits off. The show was a huge success. It had spin-offs, it won awards, it even had a show talking about the show. And just like that, other zombie-themed shows and movies tried to glob on to their success. Yes, sir, all they had to do was not screw it up and they'd be rolling in money for decades. So what happened? Our resident cranky old man and I try to get to the bottom of it in our first episode of So What Happened? What do you think was like, obviously we keep watching it, but when do you think the show got like, oh my god, I don't know why I'm still watching this stupid show? Like what point?
Probably after season 4.
And what was like the
Well,
moment that,
okay, so most people will say that the introduction to Negan was where everything went down. In my personal opinion, after the CDC, the show lost its way. Because what happened is at the very beginning of the show, the thing that made this show awesome, right? In my personal opinion, is that it was how does the human world deal with a post-apocalyptic world where they're having to deal with loved ones and people like that who die and come back to life, right? And then what are the tensions of that? So even though I despise the whole love triangle between her and Rick and what was it, Sean?
Shane?
Was it Shane? I despise that, but I also despise that because it came out during a time where I was going through a divorce.
Oh, so you
So
took
I
it
was
personally.
Yeah, I was like, Shane's an asshole. He knew that's his buddy's wife, and that's some bullshit. So I always hated Shane. I was glad that he died. But the whole idea behind trying to find a cure was kind of what drove the show for me. Was there was always that hope of being able to try to find a cure, and then they went to the CDC and it was supposed to be that last hope, and then the CDC guy ended up being like an asshole that's like, I don't have an answer for anybody. And then the CDC just kind of blew up, and they just started meandering, and it almost turned into like a seasonal superhero movie, like just your classic superhero formula where you have the good guys, and the good guys are presented with a arch nemesis, and we have to defeat that arch nemesis, and at the end of the season you defeat the arch nemesis, and then you go to said next arch nemesis, which is worse than previous arch nemesis, and you pick up other superheroes along the way.
Well, that was season 1 with the CDC, so I was like, you were kind of out of it right right off the
Well,
bat.
not so much out of it. It's just that it lost its way and it picked up steam in certain areas. Like I know you hated the tiger, but I thought the tiger was a great addition. Like the idea of some guy who, that was part of a production company that had a tiger and he ended up with it, that to me was like a cool character if you look at it from a superhero type standpoint.
Well, you got to do
I
the superhero mindset, and this is supposed to be like reality in a crazy circumstance where the dead are coming back to life. And I think the whole thing with the CDC is, I think the show would have been better if it was always centered around them trying to find the cure. And I think they purposely made it so they got that out of people's head that this isn't what the show's about. There is no cure, so it kind of gives into the lack of hope thing that you got to keep fighting in the show. So I think that was intentional, but I also don't agree with it. But they kind of brought it back in the 3rd season with what the hell's his name? The redheaded guy, the Abraham. Like his whole motivation was finding a cure. That's the only reason why he kept Eugene around, the fat nerd guy, because he told him that he could he knew how to get the cure.
Yeah, but then they ended up making Eugene into some kind of like weird superhero too, like I can do everything kind of guy. And but that I think is the problem with the show in and of itself. A show that I watched for a long time because I loved it. Like you would have one-off episodes where I'm like, oh my God, okay, go on. But then you would have amazing stuff like when his wife died, like the introduction of the black chick with the dreads,
Michonne.
Michonne. I really liked Michonne when she showed up because she had figured out a way to basically make an immunity to this. You chop the jaws and the arms off of these zombies and you lead them around and nobody messes with you.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because she was the first one, other than them like smearing themselves in guts, and then somehow they do that. They smear themselves with guts in the I think it was the 1st season to get by them. But then it starts raining, and then it washes it off of them. But are you telling me they smell better when they're dead? Zombies can smell like dogs. Like it didn't make any sense of that either.
Well, I
But
think the general idea between smearing it on you and it washing off is that it covered your scent. So not necessarily making them smell good or bad, but just
how do you smell
pheromone
things
type
in the
stuff.
rain?
So if you walked around smelling rancid, then they wouldn't come after you because it covered the pheromones. I mean, I guess that's a general idea. My
I get
question
that,
would
but
be,
the exact opposite of that are the whisperers, where they don't have any scent. They just fucking wear the skin. So it's
yeah,
the
but they have
exact
a skin
opposite.
face. Yeah.
It's a skin face, so they smell the same.
Look, when a zombie looks at you and you have a zombie face, then you're a zombie, and there's no need or reason to question that
It was just
for reasons.
just so aggravating. Like it's the exact opposite of what it was in season 1. So they can smell you, or you can cover yourself with a smell, and then as long as you don't stink like them, you'll be fine. Like they can't see a normal person.
Yes,
But in
unless
the
you're wearing
reverse of
their
that,
skin as a face.
but they can still smell you. But it's your face. So that god. So right there, they fucking don't even know that. Well, what's his name? The creator of it. I'll just dub this back and put his name in when we do it. His writing sucks, man. But going back to Michonne, like you said, she kind of figured out if you have 2 dead guys behind you, somehow that masks you. Somehow, I don't know how, reasons. But and again, you said you were kind of fuzzy on the ending. Do you remember that last scene with her in it?
Well, I remember that a character that I didn't give a shit about for years died, and that was supposed to upset me, and it didn't. And then if I remember right, was there an episode on it? Was there a part of it that was on a beach and she was leaving or something like that to go find Rick, and then Rick was on a beach and he saw a helicopter? I
All right,
honestly,
it's
I
only
don't
like
remember.
it's only like 4 minutes. I'm actually gonna speed it up too because it's stupid.
That's an indictment on how bad the last half of this show was.
Yeah.
That I have zero memory of how it ended.
So I kind of need you to see it to get a better idea what I'm trying to go
I just
for.
know I hated it.
So I'm gonna share my screen again. Windows. The last like 4 minutes of the season finale or series finale. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think of the dead all the time. And about the living, who I lost.
I tried to get to you and your brother again and again. It's too far for the radio now, I know that. But I still got you, and you got me. We're connected. We're still
I
connected.
think about them all, every
To
day.
everybody we ever loved.
Their faces, what I learned from them, how they made me who I am. So much more than all this made me who I am.
We'll always be together, even when we're apart. We, together, are the strongest thing. We're love, and love is endless. So we... those
Gay!
All of our
Yeah,
lives,
really. This goes on and on.
We are
Well,
endless.
because it's
together, pieces of
because
whole.
they have no soul. The writers at this point did not give a shit. That's why the 12th season was 3 years long. They just had no soul. They were milking the shit out of this.
They really
And
are.
they're like, we need to end it, so we need some powerful tear jerk. They tried to jerk tears out of me 100 times in that last episode, and I did not give a shit about anything. I hated the relationship with him and Michonne.
It was
I
so
hated-
forced. It was such bullshit. Nobody
Yeah.
was like, this is great. Other than
I
on The
hated-
Talking Dead. The Talking Dead's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is so. Everybody else is like, this is so forced and stupid.
Yeah, I despise the relationship between Rick and Michonne. I despise Michonne being the mother figure to Rick's daughter. I hated the fact that they just unceremoniously killed off his son for no freaking reason whatsoever. And in the graphic novels, his son
Makes it
ended
longer
up-
than him, doesn't he?
yeah, ended up taking over, and then Rick ended up getting bit and dying, and he took over the whole thing. And so like it did what every show does, and it started off amazingly, and they grabbed everybody, and then once they hit the point to where they go, oh, this is a success, then they shifted it around to where it was just this convoluted, message driven, every female has to be girl power and run
Mhm.
things, and every relationship has to be interracial, and they just fell into that. I won't even call it fell in, because they did it to Chuck. They had like 2 amazing seasons of Chuck, and then they just decided they had to start sticking in all of this messaging and stuff like that. They did it to The Boys. The Boys started where it was great, and then they started inserting all this messaging.
Well, when
That's
you
what
saw
they
who was
do.
involved with The Boys, you knew that was coming eventually.
Yeah, well, you always know it's coming, but
Yeah.
what they do is they make a great show for a few seasons, and then they start shoving all of their crap in once they have it
Oh.
done.
But here, this is just because we've been on this for a little bit, but this is just the last couple minutes of the ending here to show you what I mean.
Just keep going for what we gave each other. One unstoppable life. You
Man,
showed
I
me
bet
that.
her dread smelled horrible.
You
Oh yeah,
gave me that.
she's a terrible mother. She just leaves. She's got one parent.
Yeah.
She just leaves in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Oh, and now look at this stupid armor she's in. So this is the part I'm getting to.
Yeah, I'm starting to remember it as I'm watching. She went all what do they call it? Shaolin.
Samurai, or you're thinking of
Yeah.
Shaolin monk, but she's all samurai.
He's out there, somewhere. Not just as a part of us. He's alive.
He thought he was gonna have a career after this show. It didn't
Well,
happen.
and okay, so that's the other thing. Let's pause this real quick. Those movies were supposed to come out during the production of the show, right? And
guess.
so Rick was supposed to go, and there was supposed to be a bunch of movies, right?
Mhm.
To where you had the Rick saga on one side, and then you had the Walking Dead running side by side. That was my understanding when he left. So I was like, okay, if he's going to leave the show, that's fine to make movies. I think it's a dumb idea, but okay. And then nothing ever happened, and it just became a show without Rick. And the problem is that the tagline at the very beginning of this show, about the world needs Rick Grimes, was the whole motivation for this entire show. And so really, in the grand, I can say it dropped off when they stopped looking for a cure, and it kind of went away, and then it kind of got convoluted. But really, I mean, it died when Rick left. It was not great, because I don't think they used Negan as well as they did in the graphic novel,
Mhm.
because I like Negan as a character. But it kind of died when Rick left.
I
And
think it died a little bit before that, but it kind of took a better arc when they did the time jump. I liked some of the stuff they did, but they went right back to the old formula of
Yeah.
it was just the same old shit, just in a different timeline.
But you have to be able to you have to be able to create unique stuff. And maybe that's the thing that Lost ran into, and everything else that ran into, Chuck ran into it, Lost ran into it. Everybody who has a, good idea in the beginning, you have to continue being unique. And the problem is that they fell into the same, every bad guy was different, or every obstacle was different, but it was the same resolution.
Yeah.
It was the same formula every single time. The last bad guy that was really unique was the governor, because the governor was just brutal.
Well, the thing with him too was he that's when the show started, like, you saw cracks in the show when this fucking hillbilly from nowhere just like takes on an entire army unit. Like, they had a helicopter and he just says, hey guys, I'm here to help, and then they just kill all the army guys. It was like they were a tactical unit on high alert because of fucking zombies, and you get taken out by a one-eyed hillbilly. Like, go fuck off.
And the Whisperers at least the graphic novel, the Whisperers were awesome, and they just didn't translate to the screen.
No, they had some cool shit with the Whisperers. I thought the show was going in a whole different direction because I didn't read the graphic novel, and then when I actually heard the zombies whispering, I was like, man, those better be people. If that's actual zombies, like, I'm gonna lose my shit. And it turned out not to be, which is good. But then they completely fucking do the same thing in the last season, where now they can climb and they can think now.
Yeah, the super zombies.
Oh, fuck. Here,
but again, superhero movie.
Yeah. All right, I keep stopping this. But you saw her armor, and I don't know if you remember what she's about to do.
She's going to ride off on a horse, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, but look what she rides into.
Yeah, he's barefoot, so one false step, and Rick's dead.
Confine your arms. We've been located and are instructed to surrender. Remain in place with your hands up.
He's wearing a catcher's mask.
There's no escape for the living.
Remember what I said.
This part, it's coming.
Hold it to your heart. It's true. Forever.
We're the ones who live.
We're the ones who live. Shut up.
We're the ones who live.
But they're the ones who live.
We're the ones who live.
We're the ones who
I don't care.
They're the ones who live.
They're showing a bunch of people that died.
They're the ones who
This.
live.
This. Look at that. She's not only going into that, she's going into it making a whole spectacle of herself to draw even more attention from a horse.
That's because she's Michonne.
She's
She's the
Michonne.
girl boss.
She's the woman that figured out how to walk through crowds of zombies 10 years ago. But she's going to ride a horse into it?
No one remembers that. Why? After you find out you could put some zombies on leashes, and this I actually said to myself while I was watching the show. So you figure out you can put zombies on leashes. Why don't you take your loved ones that got turned, right? One of the greatest episodes of the entire series was when what was her name? Started with an S.
Who?
The little girl.
Little girl. Judith?
No. Way back. Scroll up real quick. Carol's daughter. What was her name?
Oh,
It started with an S.
Shit, I forget. I just saw, like, they did, like, Where Are They Now kind of thing, and she grew up to be hot. Congrats.
Well, Sarah's daughter, when she came out of that barn that they were keeping all their dead loved ones in,
Carol's
when she
daughter.
came out of that bar, that was one of the greatest Walking Dead scenes out of all of them.
Oh, yeah, and they blew their load in season 2 when that happened.
and so if you know that you can cut their jaw off and cut their arms off, and you're so stuck on your loved ones, like Morgan's wife, people like that, why not just do that? Then you get to keep your loved ones with you, and you can walk around in groups of zombies without being hassled. That's a life hack right there. You get to have your cake and eat it too, right? But they never, like, it was like a cool set piece for Michonne to be entered into the thing, and then they never discussed it again after that.
Yeah, they kind of go. I think the little girl's name was Sophia. That's her.
Yeah,
right there.
Sophia.
Oh
wow, she did turn out
right. Yeah, they did that, and like again, the life hack is like, oh no, that's a little too powerful. She can walk through everything a little too easily, so we gotta never bring it up again. Like that's kind of what they did. She went nuts one time and like cut some zombies and did the same thing, but then it was like a 1 episode arc where it's like, oh, you don't have to do this again, blah blah blah. But again, it's one of those things where like that's her like going nuts and trying to get away from people. I was like, that's not a bad thing. It's still a tool you could use, or wear their face. Just wear their face. Like you're going through a crowd of thousands of zombies, and I don't understand the writing of this and how you just forget what you did like not even a season ago.